All of you here on this beautiful day. Today is a special celebration of our prayer chaplains. We're very grateful for all that they do and the wonderful support that they provide. We're going to begin with a song that is probably familiar to all of you called Surely the Presence. You're welcome to hum along or softly sing along if you'd like. Thank you. And this is Lucky.
It's a lucky day. There you go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our sanctuary amongst the trees. The trees are living beings too, and they breathe and take in air and oxygen. What they breathe in, we breathed out, and what we breathe out, they inhale. And so we're really enjoying that natural energy this morning. And so I'm going to lead the opening prayer, and then Mary Beth and I are co-leading the service today, so she's going to take it from there. But I wanted to begin with prayer, of course, what we do every day. And I heard an expression today, this week, I wanted to share. A day hemmed in prayer seldom unravels. I like that. A day hemmed in prayer seldom unravels. So we are hemming our day in prayer as we begin this morning, begin our day and begin our week with prayer. Please join me as we go into our hearts and connect with the divine presence that is there. The prayer is the way that we remind ourselves of the spiritual truth of who we are, the nature of reality, of our spiritual reality. Prayer is the way we uplift ourselves, we strengthen our faith, we connect with the divine love that is the truth of our essence so that it can flow through us abundantly. And so we are grateful for this service this morning, for all that will be shared, the song, the story, the experience, the prayers, knowing that it is a reminder that each and every one of us is a prayer, that we are a prayer for love and peace and goodwill in the world. And so it is. Amen. And so now Mary Beth, our prayer chaplain program coordinator, will take it from here.
Thank you, Reverend Mary. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see everybody. Thank you for coming to our special celebration honoring our prayer chaplains, which I am so honored to be a part of and connected with. Just a wonderful, wonderful, special group of people that I know you all love so much. So, please join me in affirming there is only one presence and one power, living as the universe and as me, God, the good, omnipotent. And now I'd like to invite Amy Barone forward to share with us the Unity Buffalo vision, mission, and core values. Amy is starting her 7th year as a prayer chaplain. Yeah.
Okay, our vision, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. Our mission, Unity of Buffalo practices the presence of God through prayer, education, service, creativity, and community. Our core values, lead with hand motions, loving, hug yourself, and then embrace the world, spiritually centered, tap your heart, inclusive, open your arms wide to include all, respectful, namaste, compassionate, from your heart, extend your hands forward, out forward, affirming, I am here to be of service. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. And now, since it's the first Sunday in June, you know what that means. It's time to celebrate all those June birthdays. So if you're not shy and have a birthday in June, please stand. And we're going to sing 2 verses. We're going to sing our special regular verse and then our God is blessing you now verse. Now I'd like to invite Reverend Delora forward to read the daily word for us. Reverend Delora she's kind of a newbie to this prayer chaplain thing. This is going to be her 17th year in the prayer chaplain program.
Today's word is healing. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. Today, I give thanks for the constant activity of divine healing life, especially when my body is experiencing illness. To bolster my awareness of my capacity for healing, I place my attention on my inherent wholeness. I affirm life in my thoughts, my words, and my actions as I care for my body and meet its needs. My faith assures me that illness is not the truth of me, nor is it my enduring reality. Through my actions, I am affirming wholeness as my true nature and encouraging my healing. Even when I am not facing illness, I greet each day by blessing my body, affirming my wholeness and the ongoing activity of divine life in every organ, every cell. I give thanks for the gift of divine life by giving thanks for my healing and living joyously. The scripture is from Luke 8:48. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. And the affirmation for today is my thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. Let's say that together. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life.
Thank you, Reverend Laura. So happy to have you as part of our prayer chaplain program, even if you are so new. Still learning. It always delights me when Reverend Laura shares she discovered a new course, and she's so excited because she has so much to learn. And I think, wow, she has so much to learn. And now it's time to bless the prayer box. And so Mary Jo Foley, who is starting her 14th year as prayer chaplain, will lead us in our prayers today. And we're continuing to hold Ellen Anderson and her family and Carol Schmaldi and her family. And anyone else that you'd like to hold in prayer? I am honored to be here today. Let's now close our eyes and take a deep breath. Put your hands over your heart. And may the words that I speak be those of your own heart. Dear Father, Mother God, I'm so grateful to be here today with all of you. Outside, listening to all these wonderful sounds, the birds, and traffic and the fresh air. I am grateful for the life that is coursing through me, for the breath that I breathe, for the love that I am, for the peace that is mine, for the joy to experience, for my true health and wholeness. I am thankful to be here today. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Mary Jo. Mary Jo's prayers are like a little mini meditation. Such a gift. So today, because we're honoring our prayer chaplains, we thought it would be a good day to focus on the power of prayer. So instead of a message from Reverend Mary, our prayer chaplains are going to share some of the experience of being a prayer chaplain in 2020, being a prayer chaplain during a worldwide pandemic that none of us alive today have ever seen before, and how such a powerful year has impacted them, and how they were able to lean into prayer and lean into being a prayer chaplain, and just share some of that experience with you to hopefully give you some hope, maybe soothe you a little, help us remember we're not alone. So again, I'd like to invite Mary Jo up first to share. And again, it's Mary Jo's 14th year as this prayer chaplain. So again, another newbie. So please be patient with her.
Well, the pandemic, it's been a challenging year, and the power of love has helped me to get through this, helps us get through anything, because I could feel the fear. You go in the grocery store, people are almost afraid to look in your eyes, to do any kind of eye contact, because they're afraid they're going to catch the flu. So I really had to send love and light to everybody, and I really felt that we were all one, because the whole world was experiencing the same thing. So I'm so grateful for that. But there's always a silver lining. And as a prayer chaplain, we ended up meeting once a week. Thanks to our leader here. Once a week, and then now we meet twice a month, which it fills my soul. And I'm grateful to be part of this group. The other silver lining is Reverend Mary would join us during our prayer meetings, so that's been a real treat. And also, having our service outdoors, we never had that before the pandemic, so I'm really grateful for that. So, it's all good, it's all God.
Thank you, Mary Jo. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our newest prayer chaplain, Vicki Anstad. Vicki has been with the prayer chaplain program for the last 2 years as we've called her keeper of the flame, because she's been there for us, supporting us and learning more about the prayer chaplain program. And we are so delighted that she is going to take over a role as official prayer chaplain duty. So please join me in welcoming Vicki. This is going to be her 3rd year in the program.
With the pandemic, it was really hard for me, harder for me at the beginning than at the end. It really was. And at the beginning, I was also making a mistake that I wouldn't get out of my night clothes all day. And I was really depressed. And I was talking to my niece, who is a Buddhist monk, and she said, you know what? It would help if you got dressed every day. I thought, okay. And that did make a big difference. And that's the thing. We need to access the resources that we have. Ask for help, and then be receptive to the help that is offered to us. And aside from those first 3, maybe 4 weeks, it hasn't been very bad for me. It really hasn't. I drive to the grocery store, which is within 2 miles of my house, so I never went up much anyhow. So it didn't bother me at the end. But it was scary. It was scary, but I didn't give into it completely. I really didn't. It was fine. Because people are saying, I can't wait to get out. Well, I never went out anyhow, so it was fine. The power. Okay. My power is divine order. Divine order. And that helped me a lot during this time, because I just was assured that everything was going to turn out fine. And that was hard to believe when, New York City was in such bad shape. A lot of the world is still in bad shape. But I would pray for people to recover from the pandemic and from COVID. And that helped me. That really did help me. So divine order is a lovely thing that we get from Unity. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicki. So we invited the prayer chaplains to share, I forgot to mention this, which one of the 12 powers sort of supported them through this adventure of last year. And now I'd like to invite John Michaels forward. John is starting his 9th year in the prayer chaplain program, and John and Reverend Laura are both co-trainers with me, and just very happy to have John's support. He has been tremendous this past year in helping us go through the book we've been reading, which is called How to Be a Wick in God's Candle. And John just brings a nice insight to things for us and has been guiding us, and we can always rely on John. So please join me in welcoming John.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Appreciate it. It's really good to see every one of you. This is a wonderful, wonderful idea to meet in God's nature. You know, this pandemic, scared us a lot. And with fear and apprehension comes a lot of anxiety. And so the 12 powers, you're familiar, you remember what the 12 powers are? Divine love, divine faith, divine strength, divine wisdom, divine power, divine zeal, divine order, divine will, divine understanding, divine imagination, divine release, and divine life. Now, I'm sure that each and every one of you may not have gone through the 12 powers in your mind or said them out loud while you were going through this process, this event called the pandemic. But I'm sure that unconsciously you were close to one or two or three of those divine powers to help you get through what you needed to get through. I focused on, when I had the opportunity to think about this a little bit, I thought that if you're going to start any place, you start with God. And I thought about the first principle that we have for unity, and that is God is absolute power and everywhere present. So we were never alone. I was never alone. My family was never, ever alone. We had God's presence with us, always. And I like the idea that God is absolute good, because there had to be something good in what we were going through. Obviously, or at least for me, it wasn't as obvious about how this was good stuff. But as we stuck in our little pods, we grew closer as a family. We grew closer with our understanding that even in isolation, God and we are a majority. So I relied on my faith in God as absolute good, that something was going to come out of this that was hopefully wonderful. So I had faith that something meaningful was going to happen as a result of it. And the other thing is, I relied on divine love. If all else fails, you can understand that love is the answer. Love is the answer to helping us feel whole and well, to know that we are loved, to know that through this love we are cared for, and that we can be joyous and we can be happy. So as we sit here today, we can know that divine love is something that we can lean into something that we can rely on, something that we can feel joyous about. And so, as we go through the remaining days of this pandemic, and hopefully some of you at least have gotten vaccinated. I presume that because you're not wearing a mask. And so we're on our way to wholeness and wellness, and we can do that by sharing our love with each and every one of you, us, and with our fellow man. So remember to, if you wish, lean into love, lean into life. Use your imagination if you can't really feel it yet. But your imagination is a wonderful thing, isn't it? So we can believe before we see it. So let us believe that all is well, and so are we. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I'd like to share with you a little bit about my experience during the pandemic. One of the things that started right off the bat, the very, very, very first weekend that everything shut down, was to be our Prayer Chaplain annual retreat, which we were all looking so forward to. We had Latasha set up to bring us lunch, and a Latasha lunch is amazing. So that was a little disappointing, more than a little disappointing. But we had planned a whole day together to connect, and at first I just couldn't believe it. I thought, how could it happen this weekend? And then we used the power of imagination, and we decided we needed to be connected. We needed connection. So we were a little light on technology. Boy, we've come a long way, huh? So we did a phone thing. We did a teleconference phone thing for like an hour or two or something, and it was a little awkward because with the phone conference, you don't know who's going to speak next, and you can't speak over each other. But you know what? We stuck with it. Through the pandemic, that's one of the big lessons, right? We stuck with it. We kept going. And then pretty soon after that experience, we figured out how to do Zoom. And it took us a couple of tries. And some days were easier than others, and some days I called a few people because they weren't on the call. And some days we couldn't hear each other or see each other, but we figured it out. We stuck with it. And now we're like pros. If you have any questions about Zoom, you can ask any prayer chaplain. In addition to praying for you, we are your new technical support for Zoom. Maybe. That was using the power of imagination. That was an example of the power of imagination. So, connection. So, I looked up the definition of connection. And the definition of connection is the state of being connected. Just think about that for a second. It's not doing connection. It's the state of being connected. So that implies you don't have to do anything. It's a state of being. And we really made that intention this year, to stay connected, to be connected, not only with each other as prayer chaplains, but with our whole Unity of Buffalo community, and I hope you felt that. And I think intention this year was so important. It feels like for me so many powers were highlighted. The power of elimination was highlighted, letting go of the busy work, the stuff that isn't important, that isn't necessary. But staying connected was necessary. And I feel like this year our prayer chaplains got even closer. And certainly, as Mary Jo mentioned, what a delight it was for us to have Reverend Mary with us. Almost every week she was a part of our connection, and it made us stronger. I think it made us the connection, that state of being connected, that state of being connected brought a greater awareness of the power of oneness, the power of our collective presence, our collective prayers, way beyond our individual prayers. And of course it starts with our individual prayers. So between that and, as John said and Mary Jo said and Reverend Delora shared also at our meeting when we discussed this, we all tuned into the divine power of love. And in our book that we studied this year called How to Be a Wick in God's Candle, the beginning of prayer is about love. And it starts with loving the self. And in the book, he says something that might be startling, or it might not even feel true to you. But if you think about it, maybe you'll find a kernel of truth in it. And what he says is that our ability to love others is in direct proportion to our ability to love ourselves. So our ability to love others is in direct proportion to loving ourselves. And that's how we begin the prayer process. We start with loving ourselves. And sometimes that involves this thing called waiting. Waiting. 2020, among many other things, was a year of waiting, a year of patience, a year of waiting for things to shift and change. And waiting requires patience. And I have to quote my aunt. Some of you know my aunt that I talk about a lot. She's 90, and she only has one leg, and she lives alone. She's an amazing woman. She's a great teacher, even though she irritates the heck out of me a lot. I have a tremendous amount of respect for her, and she has this amazing quote: "Patience is power. Patience is power." And if this wasn't a year to learn that patience is power, I don't know that we'll have another year ever like this. So, to wrap it up, I would just like to extend my gratitude to all of the prayer chaplains and Reverend Mary, and to all of you for allowing us to pray with you and for us to learn and fumble and grow and be impatient and make mistakes, but keep on trying. Keep on showing up, even if we're not doing it perfectly, or even as perfectly as we think we should do it, even if we're not loving ourselves as much as we think we could, or even if that feels really foreign. We just keep on trying. We keep on doing it, because patience is power. Thank you. So now it's time to acknowledge all our prayer chaplain emeriti. We have an expression within the prayer chaplain program: once a prayer chaplain, always a prayer chaplain. So our prayer chaplains make a commitment 1 year at a time. Each year, prayer chaplains decide to recommit and go through training again, or they may opt to become a prayer chaplain emeriti, which means moving into a role where they are available to support our current prayer chaplains as needed. And we have quite a few people who have been a part of this program over the years, prayer chaplain emeriti. For those of you here with us today, and I see a few of you back there, would you please stand so we could acknowledge you? Come on, Judy, Steve. Who else? Judy Seal. Beverly. Please stand. Please stand so we can honor you. There's Ingrid back there. And there's so many more that aren't here today. Rosie. Randy Atlas. June Fisher. Greg Bravo. No, there's many more. Nancy Lee Patras. Yeah. Lisa Brown, Lisa Colbert Brown. Nancy Brown. So there's many emeritis. So we'd like to bless you. So let's give our prayer chaplain emeriti our unity blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Thank you. Now we'd like to turn this back over to Reverend Mary.
Thank you. Thank you to all the prayer chaplains for everything you've shared. The power that I would select, all the powers were helpful to me over this past year, but I think about the power of life, because this past year has just made me think more and more, what is it that gives us life? It's one thing to be, breathing with your heart, but it's nothing to be alive, and during this time when we couldn't be together in person, what were the things that kept us living and thriving and feeling hopeful and filled with faith? And it was connection, I think, and our love for ourselves, our love for our spiritual community, the things. I just feel like I can't even hardly begin to tell you all the things that people have done to support our church over this past year while we have been, functioning remotely. But a lot has happened in the building, on the grounds, on Zoom, our board meetings, committee meetings, chaplain meetings. I love being part of the prayer chaplain, being an honorary prayer chaplain. But I was thinking, I've talked a lot about, I think kind of everything in life is a beginning and an ending, and you step through one door and there's a new beginning. And I'm glad that Steve is here today, because maybe he can testify to this. But a little bit of history about our prayer chaplain program. The program, I think, is in its probably 18th or 19th year. And it really began the year before I came here as our minister, and with Steve, and I think it was Ed and Ramella, and some people will remember them, that they signed up for a workshop up in Canada. I think it was at Hamilton, the Unity Ministry there. And they had no idea what they were going to. They thought they were just going for a retreat to have a prayer experience. They had no idea that it was actually a training program to learn how to set up a prayer chaplain ministry in your own church ministry. So it was like they went on this adventure. They went thinking they were just going to have a retreat, and they came back with all these manuals and tools, guidelines, and figuring out how to train everybody else. It was like, wow, it was more than I think what they thought they were stepping into. But I think, thank God they did that, and look what has come of it now, 18, 19 years later, and all the prayers that have been spoken, and all the people. I think we counted one time, we've had probably 20 or 30 prayer chaplains, and the program is growing strong. It's strong and is still, alive, alert, enthusiastic. because of your willingness to bring back what you learned from that experience and say, okay, well, this is what we signed up for, I guess. You know, and sometimes life is like that. We go somewhere, we think we're going for one thing, we find out it's something else, but out of that, it's like the hero's journey. We come back with something that's really good that we're meant to share with our family, our community, and our world. So that's how I think about this last year, is that we have been on a hero's journey, and now we're slowly coming back, and we all have a lot to share. So what else was I going to say? I also just wanted to share, Unity just recently came out with a new booklet, The Power of Prayer. And I really like, it's just a collection of articles and wonderful prayers, but the first article is wonderful. The woman writes about Sandra Campbell. She's a Unity minister. She said when she was a communications major in college, she remembers learning one thing, many things, but she said she remembers learning that one cannot not communicate. You have to think about that for a minute. It's a double negative, but you cannot not communicate. The idea is that we're always communicating, you know, whether it's with our words or our nonverbal, our facial expressions, just our energy and our presence. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're always communicating. And she said that she has come to feel the same way about prayer, that really we're always praying. You know, there's that song that I love, Our Thoughts Are Prayers. I mean, can you really take a moment and not have a thought? Well, we try to in meditation, but there's always a thought, always a prayer. And so what we're learning and what we're practicing in Unity is the power of affirmative prayer. How to use our prayers for the highest good, for our community, for our families, for our world. And that's what I think about our prayer chaplains. They're just the pillars of light in our community to remind us that we're all praying all the time. And that prayer is more than just the formal prayers that we can speak on Sunday or that you pray with a prayer chaplain. Those are wonderful. But prayer is, we pray when we're walking, when I'm going for a walk, when I'm sitting quietly in nature, when I'm doing the dishes. Brother Lawrence learned to practice the presence, whatever he was doing. And so that's what we want to see, that prayer is not just something we do at a moment in time, but it can be how we live our lives, how we move through the experiences of our life. And so I heard recently, about a small church, not too much bigger than ours. They felt like they really needed a much better AV system for their church. It was going to cost $130,000. They formed a mastermind prayer group, and somebody walked through the door and said, I want to write you a check. Wrote a check for the whole thing. So anything is possible. That can happen here, can happen in our lives when there's a dream, when there's a purpose, when there's a clear intention, when it's something for the highest good of all. It can't not happen. It will unfold in the perfect way. So today we are honoring our current chaplains, and I'm really grateful that they all have committed for another year. Said, yeah, I want to do this. That they are part of this foundation. I like Charles Fillmore said that all prayers are cumulative. So every prayer that we say is on top of the prayers that we've said before. And so all the prayers that our prayer chaplain ministry has ever prayed, all the prayers that have ever been prayed at Unity of Buffalo, all the prayers in the Unity movement, that we are part of that growing consciousness that it's like a layer cake, I guess. And so our heeding the call to be part of the prayer chaplain program, is, as Mary Beth said, it involves an extensive amount of training and commitment And normally they meet once a month, but we've been meeting every week for quite a bit of this year, and now we've gone to twice a month. But being a prayer chaplain, it means demonstrating a commitment to live our unity principles. And there are four things that prayer chaplains formally do. It's a lot more, but four things when you pray with a prayer chaplain, that one, they lovingly listen. That we practice this, being able to listen with an open heart, to listen under the words, because sometimes the prayer request isn't really the first thing that a person says. There's a little bit of story or something, and then you get to the heart of what the person really wants prayer for. It might be guidance or peace of mind or something a little bit deeper. And then the prayer chaplain is holding the high watch, creating the sacred space, knowing that we are not limited by what we can see right in the moment. As a Unity minister always says, the how is none of my business. We're not here to figure out the how. We're just here to go to that place in consciousness where things are possible that we can't quite see yet, to just hold that space. The third thing that our prayer chaplains do is to hold confidence. That the things we just want you to know that when you pray with a prayer chaplain, whatever you say, that is held in the strictest confidence. That we don't share it with others unless you've given us permission to say, please mention this on Sunday, or include this in the prayers in the email blast or something. Lovingly listen, holding the high watch, sacred confidence, and then the last thing is to pray. Praying from the heart. Prayer chaplain, they may close their eyes, or they may ask you to hold your hand, but they just take a deep breath and trust and know that whatever words come through their mouth are the right and perfect words in that moment. And they pray from their heart. And then, of course, our prayer chaplains take turns on Sundays, being part of the Sunday service and leading the prayers, being part of our team that we do wellness calls. I think probably most of you are aware of that. Every person that's a member of our church and others that have asked to be on the list, and if you're not currently receiving a wellness call, we'll see if we can add you. But you get a call every month. And if you're not home, they just leave a wonderful prayer message on the voicemail. And I often hear that people say, I saved that prayer and listened to it all month long. I really look forward to my call. And then, of course, part of being the prayer chaplain are the meetings, regular monthly or now bi-monthly meetings, and always learning and growing. We're either reading a book and talking about that, or having something that really helps us grow. So, that's a little bit about this program that has come a long way from when Steve and Ed and Ramella went up to Hamilton thinking they were just going away for a weekend to have a fun experience. They came back with this, and it has been like a little baby that has been nurtured and grown and loved and appreciated and continued to grow and blossom. So I'd like to, now is the formal dedication part of our prayer chaplain service today. And I would like to ask all of our prayer chaplains for this year to please stand. And Harriet, I know you're back there, good, with your kitty cat shirt on. So in the awareness of the activity of spirit, which has led you to this moment of commitment, I invite you to go to your heart space. And if your heart says yes, I ask you to respond to these words, I am. I have 3 questions for you. Are you willing to accept the commitment of service for 1 year as a prayer chaplain and all of the dedication and responsibilities that go with it for this year? If so, please say I am. Are you willing to do your best to remember your oneness with God and to stay God-centered and prayed up. Are you willing to support the other members of our prayer chaplain team? I am. So, well, blessed ones, yes, we will hold a sacred, you have said that you will hold a sacred space filled with love and compassion for everyone that comes to you seeking prayer. And we as a spiritual community will hold a space of love and compassion and appreciation for all the ways that you uplift and serve us. Thank you very much. So now we have a little gift for each of the prayer chaplains, and Mary Beth, maybe you can help me to hand these out. And we'll start with Victoria, who is the youngest member, the newest member group. It's her third year as part of the prayer chaplain team. And what we're giving each person is a candle and a little prayer chaplain wheel from Unity headquarters. And Amy Barone is in her 7th year. We're so grateful for Amy for her dedication and service. And John Michaels is in his 9th year. And I'll skip ahead. Harriet is in her 15th year. I know Harriet always says that she loves to pray, that that's her favorite thing to do. And she does a great job of it.
She was in the bleachers, I guess.
Yeah. Special seat. And Reverend Alora is in her 17th year. Who did we miss? Oh, Mary Jo. Mary Jo, I'm sorry, 14th year. Mary Jo Fuller, yeah. Gosh, okay. And I'll present this one. I just want to say, you know, Mary Beth has really stepped into, is such a wonderful leader for this program. You have no idea all that she does to organize and coordinate and schedule meetings and plan the meetings and just to support each prayer chaplain in their own unique way wherever they are, whatever's going on. And I just love working with you, and I'm just so grateful to be sharing this experience with you. So thank you, Mary Beth. So now we sing the song, Here I Am, Lord, which is a prayer chaplain's theme song dedication.
Thank you. It takes a village, right? Thank you, Sheila. Lucky says they... So, if you liked what you heard today, and you have any interest in joining us, we'd love to have more prayer chaplains. So please feel free to connect with me or any of the prayer chaplains if you want more information. We'd love to have you join us.
I realize the service is running a little bit long, but I want to, so we're going to have a short meditation, but we have a gift for each of you. This Unity book, The Power of Prayer. There are copies over on the welcome table, and please take one on the way out, or take an extra. We've got plenty to share with people that we want to pass this message on to. And tell them where it came from. It came from Unity of Buffalo, and join us next Sunday. So I'm going to just read a short prayer from this, and then we will have a song. And this is called the Prayer of Silence. I just invite you to close your eyes if you'd like. Take a deep breath and allow these words to be your words. I am now in a sacred place. That place where the Father and I are one. I close the door to all distractions, to all external issues, and I surrender myself to the divine presence in the assurance that all sorrow is healed. The outpouring of healing and comforting love brings peace and calm to my soul. Infinite wisdom reveals to me a new understanding of my life and my circumstances. Guided and inspired, I find the strength to live each day with faith, joy, and enthusiasm. Dear God, this moment is our moment. In it, I experience the gift of presence, and I find the peace I am looking for. I open wide the doors of my being to receive the wonderful blessings and goodness prepared for me. So let us just take a moment in the silence and feel that we have opened a door in our heart and in our awareness to an even deeper connection to the infinite presence within us. I open wide the doors of my being to receive the wonderful blessings and goodness prepared for me. And love leads the way.
Thank you, Mike and Unity. Thank you so much. I sprung that one on them really quickly earlier this week, and they learned it. They did a pretty good job, didn't they? Now it's time to practice generosity, one of our spiritual gifts. This is an opportunity to leave a love offering or tithe for our ministry in the box on our welcome table. Please take a moment to reflect on how prosperity is wanting to express through you now during this service. Thank you for your generous giving that supports our ministry and makes possible all the good works at Unity of Buffalo. You can also continue to give through mail-in offerings to the church office or through our website. Let's bless our gifts. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Freely I give, and freely I receive. Thank you, God. We bless these gifts and see them pressed down, shaken together, heaped up, overflowing, and returned to every giver. Amen. Now it's time for our transformational opportunities, and I invite you to take a look around and really appreciate these beautiful grounds and gardens. Work has been done this past week at church, both around our building and right here in our Peace Park. We were able to hire someone that did some of the work for us a few years ago, and he came this week and helped us to get our grounds looking beautiful for the summer. And this timing is perfect because we have several events coming up, all right here in the Peace Park. So in addition to our Sunday morning services, the following events are happening in the Peace Park. Gentle strength yoga classes with Annabelle Ludwig, started this past week. Classes continue every Thursday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. The suggested donation is $10 to $20, and that will be shared with the instructor, Annabelle, and to support our Peace Park. This coming Saturday, June 12th at 4 p.m., we are going to have a celebration of life service for our beloved Chris Millhouse. Chris passed last year. She was a member of our choir and a member of our church for a number of years. All are welcome to join in this celebration around Chris's life. Then the following Saturday on June 19th, Millie, I know you want to come up, so you could start walking up if you want. The following Saturday at June 19th at 6 o'clock, we will be having a celebration of our Spirit Groups series from this past spring. And everyone is invited to attend. So even if you did not attend a Spirit Group, you are more than welcome to come and share in the fun. Please bring a dish to share, including the serving utensil and your chair. It will be potluck with some fun games afterwards, as opposed to not fun games. These will be fun games. We're going to provide the paper plates, napkins, plasticware, and water. And last, we have an announcement from Millie about the work of Voice Buffalo and some petitions that are available to sign on our welcome desk table. Please join me in welcoming Millie.
Thank you, Mary Beth. First thing I want to report is attendance. 51 people here this morning. Nice to see you all. What I want to talk about is, I feel like John Scott is here with us. He was a big supporter of Voice Buffalo, and our Spirit Group decided to help Voice Buffalo as a part of our service project for the Spirit Group, because we were reading the book Biased. And there is a petition being circulated. It's for people who live in the city of Buffalo and are registered voters in the city of Buffalo. So if you meet those criteria, I encourage you to sign this petition. One of the things they're trying to do is train police officers to be more, to de-escalate situations that they find themselves in and to recognize bias. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. Now we're ready to close our service. So Mike's going to lead us in our song that we haven't sang in a while. Well, at least a week. We're all friends here. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Now we'll have our closing song.
Hopefully we have many more wonderful Sunday mornings like this with great weather.